Hi, and thank you so much for joining us for H3 TV, where we spread health, hope, and happiness to the world. We all could use a little. There's many people hurting. So how can we be the solution? Sharing hope, health, and happiness. Today, I have the privilege of having RJ Jackson with me. RJ, thanks so much for being here. Please tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What do you do?
What a pleasure it is to be here with you today. And thank you so much for having me at such a time as this when people need hope, happiness, and health. So I am RJ Jackson, also known as the Courage Giver worldwide. I've had the opportunity for the last 30 years to travel the world as an international speaker, spreading hope, happiness, and health with people. So I get to grace the stages, sit at people's desks, sit on their couch, and remind them that there is hope and that they can get through whatever it is they're going through. Not necessarily to be resilient, but I like to say, and to become a thriver. So with resilience, we bounce back. As a thriver, we bounce forward. So that's who I am, what I get to do, my full time passion, people, from my family to the world. That's me.
I love it, RJ. That's awesome. And I love the bounce forward. It's a great visual. Like we don't want to just bounce back. Maybe it's time to bounce on, right? Get on with our life. So I love that. So, what are 3 to 5 of your keys? How do you stay hopeful, RJ? Because life can be hard, right? For all of us, personally, professionally. So, how do you stay hopeful? What are some tips you can give us?
Whew, that's a great question. How do I stay hopeful in such a time as this with everything that's going on, regardless of what the day is? There's always something going on, right? And so, 3 to 5 things that I do to stay hopeful. Number one, I lean heavily on my faith. Without my faith, I would not make it. Never would have survived the horrific car accidents that I've been in. Never would have survived watching my mother die. Never would have survived caring for my dad for 6 months only to see him pass away with cancer. I would have never survived those without my faith. And I would have never survived without community. It's important to be around people. When we're around people, we find hope and possibility, especially people who get underneath us and lift us up. And I want to encourage everyone, don't try to do this thing alone. We need each other to survive.
Right. That's right. I
And
love
there's
that.
a third tip,
Yeah.
and that tip is identity.
Mhm.
I know who I am.
Mhm.
And I don't say that to put anyone down. I say that to help people understand you can be the hero of your own story too. And that's
Mhm.
how you'll get through and survive and thrive. Knowing who you are, remembering what's inside of you, the greatness that's already inside of you to help you press past what you're going through. Those are the 3 things, Anne,
I
that really get
love
me
that.
going.
I love it, RJ. Love it. And I find that when I interview people on hope, probably the number one with everyone that wants to talk about hope is faith. They have a faith and they don't just have one, they live in that, they practice that, they pay attention to that, they listen. So I love that you said hope. I also love that you said community, but you reinforce community, RJ. It's really important. Like a lot of people have people, but we don't want just people. We want people that support us and lift us up, right? We want those people that are surrounding us and lift us up. But you said your third, and I want to add to your third because I really like you said, I know who I am. But RJ, I would beg to believe, I don't even know you, but I know I would bet that you know who you are, but I bet also you like who you are.
Oh, I love who I
You
am.
love who you are. And that's what I
Girl.
think, like, I love that you said know who you are. So when we're talking to our audience, know who you are, but also learn to like or love who you are. Because some people are like, I know who I am, but I'm a mess. Or I don't like myself, or I got messy parts, or but I love like know yourself and love yourself, right? Because when we show up in that, we can stay hopeful. So I love that you said no, but I think it's even more important that we know ourselves and then we like or love ourselves even. So that's beautiful, RJ. Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. When life is hard and life is challenging, like you said, it is for all of us at different times. Um, where do you go to remember to be hopeful? And may be the same as your answer before, but sometimes I think people like it's easy to be hopeful when life is moving forward, But when we get stuck or when something hits us, like the death of a parent or a diagnosis, how do you go back to that? How do you remember to be hopeful in the really hard stuff of life?
And I have this philosophy. I look for the good and the bad. Because let me tell you something. Underneath all that pain, underneath all that shame, that guilt, that feeling sad, there's something good in the midst of the bad. And so my thing is, where is it? I want to step out the way. Like, where is it? Because it's here and it's what helps me not only survive, but thrive. It helps me to bounce forward and keep going in the midst of the pain, knowing there's some good there. There's something good that's going to happen that's going to make us better if we refuse to let it make us bitter.
That's right. That's right. I think we speak on a lot of the same things. But when you did that, you gave me a visual. I'm such a visual person. Like, I see you as a treasure hunter. I see you as a gold digger. Like, you're like, this is a mess, but let's just keep digging, right? Like, you probably work with your clients like, okay, yep, this is messy. This is ugly, or this isn't beautiful, but let's keep digging. There is a gold. There is a nugget here that we're going to find inside of the pain, inside of the challenge. I don't know. You were like physical with it. I love that. I was like, you're like a treasure hunter, and you're going to find the treasure. Even if it's hard, even if it's messy to get there, like you, I love that. I don't know. I don't know if anyone's ever told you that before, but I'm like, oh my gosh, RJ is a treasure hunter. She helps people uncover their treasure and their silver lining and their gift in the middle of the challenges, which is probably why you're such a courage giver. All right. So do you think hope is more of a choice, RJ, by chance or by circumstance? How do you get hopeful? If I'm not hopeful and I'm listening right now, how could I become hopeful? By choice, by chance, or by circumstance?
I think hope is available for everyone. Mm-hmm. So therefore, we have to press through our circumstances and make a choice. It's available. It's there. We have to choose it. Now, is that easy for everyone? Of course not. Sometimes people say, oh, we're all in the same boat. You're not in my boat. Sorry, girl. No. Like, you're in a sailboat. I'm on a cruise ship. Okay. We are not in the same boat. I don't care what it looks like. Everyone has their own journey. That's right. And we make those choices to choose hope based on our experience, based on our community, based on our identity. So if you're in a sailboat and you prefer to be in a cruise ship, then choose hope by choosing a different community. Get to know who you are and love yourself, because I love me some me. Okay. And let me tell you something, and let me just share this. And I'm a hot mess, but I love my hot mess because that's who I am as I grow in my God's grace, right? So change your community if you're not where you want to be, if you want hope, because it's available. Change how you see yourself, because hope is available. And change the people you hang around, how you see yourself, and the choices you make, because hope is available.
I love that. Great suggestions, ideas, encouragement, challenges. I always think if we're a great coach or speaker, we're not just encouraging people, we're also challenging people, right?
Yes.
In their thoughts and in their actions and all of that. So I love that you're saying, you know what, there is hope. But even if we're messy, there's still hope. But you got to choose it. You got to go after it. And if something's not working, change it. And you have the power to make the changes, whether it's our career or where we live or who we associate with. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. So what do you think, RJ? What is the difference between being hopeful and being optimistic?
Well, let's talk about optimistic first.
Okay.
Because in my opinion, so many people say I'm optimistic, meaning I'm positive. I don't believe that's what optimistic means. I believe that optimistic means that you see the challenge and you're going for it anyhow. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm going through it courageously. I'm blindfolded. I don't care. I know at the end there's something for me to pick up and win with. Yes. It's not about being positive. You might be crying, but you may still be going. Mm-hmm. That's the difference. You're still going. Okay. Hopeful is before you even take a step. You don't worry about how you're going to do it. You know the way has already been made. And it's not your job to figure it out. It's your job to take the steps to do it. right? I was hopeful. And after having my last horrific accident, that I would walk again. I was hopeful before I could even get up out of the bed. I was hopeful before they even brought me the wheelchair. I was hopeful before they even gave me the crutches. I was hopeful before they even gave me the cane. I'm still hopeful. I'm walking with a cane, but my hope says I'm walking hands free. That's the end of my hope. And I will be there. Watch for me because I am hopeful.
I love that. Hope is about that vision, right? You have a vision. You already see yourself walking hands free. You already see that. You saw that before the wheelchair, before the crutches, before the cane. I love that I think hope's a lot about vision. It's about seeing it done as it's meant to be by our creator before it ever happens. And everyone else, RJ, are you crazy? That's ridiculous. That's when people are doubting on us and us still saying, I still have the vision. It's okay, your story or your doubt. I'm not going to own that. No, I feel like my whole life people have told me what wouldn't work out, especially my young life. Not so much anymore. Now people are like, you actually do everything you say you're going to do. I'm like, I have vision. I don't know if it's all going to work out, but I have this great vision. But I love that hope is about seeing it before it happens. That's beautiful, RJ. And I see it for you. I see you walking hands free and just showing the world what hope looks like. And also our spirit, our mind is powerful, right? So what we believe we start to create and become. And I think when we think it won't work out or things don't work out for me, and we repeat that, we start to live as if. And there's a price and a reward in that. And I don't know, we might be different on our optimism. I'm always optimistic, and people tell me, Annie, you set yourself up to be disappointed, and maybe, but I always look for the good in people. I always believe in the good, even if a behavior doesn't teach that. So when I get to work with foster parents, I always think, what if you saw the good in the child that doesn't exist before it existed? What if you always hope for it to have a happily ever after and everything works out? I know that's not realistic, but it is optimistic for me. And I just love staying positive. But I also think it's all about steps, one step at a time, one choice at a time. So I love everything you're saying.
Can
So
I speak to that?
yeah, go ahead.
Because we're on the same page.
Okay.
See, the difference is you're not just doing some positive thinking. That's what I want people to see. Being optimistic is not just positive thinking.
Okay.
You're taking action on what you see and what you
Yeah.
believe. That's the difference right
Okay.
there.
Okay, so you're saying don't just be I hope it works out. Like
Yes.
okay, I get that, because when I was writing my book, Be the Exception, it says transformation, and people are like, can you just say transcend? And I'm like, no way. I didn't transcend. I transformed. I did the work. You can't just sit home and hope it works out. It does not. You got to do the work. So okay, we're on the same page with that. All right. So what, RJ? Because I want you to be as real with people. That always helps my listeners. Is what are the things that steal your hope? What for you? Because you seem very optimistic, very hopeful, very positive, and I love that. But you're also human, right? We all have bad days. So is there anything, or what are the things that kind of steal your hope when you're moving forward and you're staying hopeful and you're shining your light in the world, which I can see from you? What are some of the things that steal your hope?
Well, and I'm a language person. So I'm definitely going to keep it real because integrity is my middle name.
Yes.
I don't have to talk about authenticity. I just live authenticity and people see it and they grab a hold to it. So when it comes to stealing, oh no. Oh heck no. Nobody gonna steal my hope. Okay. You may have broken into my home and stole my stuff, but you're not gonna steal my joy and you're not gonna steal my hope because that's a choice I make. You can't take anything from me without a fight and that I don't give to you. So, oh no, you going down. You're trying to steal my joy and my hope? Please. Because here's what I believe in. If I allow you, because it is a choice, my choice. And if I allow you to steal my hope, you've killed me. I'm dead because without hope, we have nothing. So I'm holding on to my hope. I'm fighting for it. But I will tell you this, there are circumstances that come that knock me down to the ground.
Yeah.
I got knocked down real hard with this last accident. I couldn't walk. I couldn't talk. I'm living with a brain injury. I got knocked down hard. But I've been knocked down hard before. I watched my mother die. I got knocked down hard. I've lost my brother, my mother, my father. I got knocked down hard. My daughter's going through cancer. I got knocked down hard. But nothing will steal my hope, because it doesn't matter how many times I got knocked down. I made a choice each time to get back up. I may have had to crawl. I may have to cry, reach out and say, "And help, girl, help, help, God, take me away." But let me tell you something. You can't
Yes,
have my hope,
I
because
love
I
that.
believe in life.
I love that. And I also appreciate you sharing, a little bit about your mom and dad and your burying your brother. I've buried a lot of people and watching people struggle. And I always, one of my children, I won't say which one, most people know me, but one of my children challenges me the most. And there used to be a time when I would, oh my goodness, I would just worry RJ. I couldn't sleep at night. What if he's not going to be okay? What if this, what if that? And I remember my sister-in-law about, I don't know, maybe 8 years ago saying to me, "You never worry anymore. What's the deal with you? Like, you never worry about him." And I said, "Well, when you have faith, we are called to not worry, but to pray about all things, right?" And also, when I recognize no matter how much I love someone, family or friend, I'm not in control of their story and of their destiny, of when their story ends on this earth. And I love the serenity prayer because I think it's such a great reminder of, be courageous to make the changes we want, be wise to know the difference, and have peace about what we can't change. And I started repeating that sometimes 50 times a day, like over and over. But inside of it there was freedom, right? And I love that you're saying no matter what, you can steal a lot from me, but you cannot steal my hope. And I think when we live in that, when we are grounded in that, the waves are going to come, right? Things are going to, right before I jumped on with you, it was hailing here. I mean, it was just hailing. And I was thinking there's always a storm, a brewing, but we don't have to walk alone through the storms of life. And when we walk through a storm, it gives us more compassion and empathy for others that we meet and that we care about that have their own storm. So thank you. That was really good. And I think you actually kind of jumped in to one of the other questions I was thinking about. What's the difference between hope and joy? And I have some thoughts on that. What are your thoughts on hope and joy? Are they the same? You kind of talked about both there. So what do you think?
Well, let's dive a little deeper into that question, Anne. So thank you. It's a great question, one that challenges us to think
Yeah.
about what we believe as well. So joy for me is the feeling that I have regardless of what's going on.
Yes.
They walk hand in hand, but they are totally different. You see, what you see on my face is not happiness, it's joy for me.
Yeah.
For someone else, it may be happiness. For me, it's joy, because regardless of what I'm going through, regardless of the storms that you just talked about, I can smile. Even though I'm hurting, I can smile. Now, I'm in constant pain from the accident, but you know what? I still have joy. It's not dependent on anything I'm going through. It's all about not what's going on around me or what's happening to me, but it's all about what's going on inside of me. Girl,
Whoa.
there's some good stuff in there.
I love that. I do. I do. I think joy, and not everybody, but I heard years ago, and I've always been like, joy is from Jesus, and that's internal bubbling out.
Yeah,
Happiness is from situations, and that's
yeah,
outside going in. And I'm like, I can be joyful in the storm, just like you said. Like, you're joyful in the pain, you're joyful in the fear, you're joyful in the loving your daughter in a hard place. Like, you're still in joy, right? And so many people don't know that's a choice. And, well, you don't know what I'm going through. You don't know what, but if you had my life, no. We've had our challenges, and we are choosing joy and choosing to be open to be filled with joy in all circumstances. I love that. I love that.
it's a choice.
Um, do you have more hope or what is your hope about the future? What's your hope about the future personally and professionally? What are you seeing? What are you seeing in your vision without even knowing it? What are you seeing? How are you hopeful personally and professionally?
I love something you said earlier. So I'm going to back up and start right there.
Okay.
I'm not worried about it, because I worry about nothing and I pray about everything. So the destination for me, what I believe, I've been set up to win. And so I'm going for the victory, girl. Door number 2, I'm going for the victory. How about you?
I love
So my hope for the future is what I've been promised.
it.
It doesn't say, there's no guarantee that I won't fall in the race. There's no guarantee I won't get bumps and bruises. I won't lose people along the way. But personally, I already know I've been set up to win. I'm just waiting to put the rope around my neck, the crown on my head, and then be able to help someone else as well. Now, professionally, I see it so I can be it.
Mhm.
I'm a winner. And my philosophy is, and what I help share with other people, who are you? And whoever you are, see it, be it, live it. Don't
Mhm.
worry about it. See it, be it, live it. I'm a winner. I'm a survivor. I'm a thriver. I'm
Mhm.
resilient. I'm all of that. I see it. And then because I see it, I get to be it. I practice it before it takes place or the roots come up and show the flowers. And then I live it.
Mm.
I show people what it looks like when it doesn't even exist.
That's right.
And so earlier you said you used the example and people say, RJ, are you crazy? I am. I'm cray cray. But let me tell you, that's why so many people don't establish the possibility within their own life because they're too afraid to be crazy.
Mhm.
See, being crazy means you're different. That's why folks call you crazy because you're not doing it the box way, their way, right?
That's right.
And I'm crazy enough to believe what was said and spoken over me. True.
Yes. You believe it. I love that. And like you also said, I don't have to speak about authenticity. I live it. And that is a word of mine. I sometimes get called authentically Annie because I'm just like, here's who I am. Kind of messy, kind of goofy, but I like me. And
I
I'm
love
not
it.
gonna I think we're kind of trained up to apologize if we're different. But what
Mm,
if we don't apologize
okay.
and by living fully our beautiful selves, our goofy selves, our weird selves, our whatever kind of selves, we show the world we like ourselves and then we invite them to like themselves or to
Yeah.
love themselves, as you said, even farther. So, do you have any other last minute stories you want to share with us about hope or how you've experienced it, how you've seen it in someone else? How somebody who, if we're sitting at home right now, RJ, and we're stuck, like my job's not working out, my relationship's not working out, I don't feel physically my best. How can I get hopeful? Because I'm not. So, something, a story or some example for our listeners that can really just encourage them.
Thank you, Anne. I love telling stories. So allow me to tell a quick story. I had just moved to the area in which I was living in Southern California, and I had taken on a job, something I hadn't done in years. And while I was at this job, I had to put my son in daycare. This particular daycare charged me $5 for every minute I was late picking him up. And one day, my boss decided she wanted to go overtime in the meeting, which meant we were getting out late. And when the meeting was over, I was like, I gotta go. I have to go because I am not paying for that daycare. And so I said, the freeway is gonna be terrible. And my colleague said, well, where do you live, RJ? And I told her, and she said, why do you need to take the freeway? You can just simply go straight up the street and then turn, and you'll be right there. And I said, well, I don't know that way. Let me pause for the cause for a second and tell you, you don't have to know the way, but the way has been made. So she said, but it's easy. Just go this way and then go that way and you'll be right there. And so I had the courage to be crazy to try it. I mean, what could I lose? What could you lose if you tried something you didn't see was possible? If you had hope? So here's what I did. I took the route. I'm driving the street and the street starts to curve and curve. And I'm like, oh, I'm lost. Oh my gosh. I don't know where I am. I'm lost. And you know what I did, Ann? I turned back around and I went back to my job and I went the way I knew. I got on the freeway. Whew, I made it just in the nick of time. One day we were going to a new church and we're driving down the street and I'm looking and I said, this looks familiar. And I looked again, and on the way home from church, I'm looking, I said, this looks really familiar. And I see this gas station. And I said, oh my gosh, that's the gas station I turned in the time I was lost. And I went all the way back to my job to get on the freeway. Well, I want you to know I was 5 minutes away from my home when I turned around and went all the way back to what was familiar because I didn't have the hope that this was right and that I could make it in time. And I want to tell everyone who's listening, just keep going. Don't quit. Don't give up. And don't you dare go back to what you knew and it wasn't working for you. Keep your hope. Keep the hope alive, because here's what I want you to know as I get ready to go. You don't have to live where you're dying, and you don't have to die where you're living. There is hope. You can rise again. And every morning, I rise so that you can shine.
I love that. No wonder you are the courage giver. I love that title because you have to be hopeful for that story, but you also have to be courageous.
Yeah.
And I love that you really are showing like just that moment. You know, what if you get lost, but what if there's a better way? If we just are willing to take that risk. So thank you so much. RJ, it has been a pleasure to be with you today. Thank you for letting your light shine into our audience. So if people want to hear more about you or get your information, can you tell us where they can reach you? Are you on social media? Do you have a website? Tell us a little bit about how to connect if someone's listening and they want more of you.
I love that. And I just want to say to your listeners, it'd be my pleasure to connect with you. So turn around, because I'm right there. I'm in this journey with you, and you can find me everywhere. I'm online under The Courage Giver. You can find me on my website, thecouragegiver.com. You can find me on every social media platform, TikTok, YouTube, all of it. The Courage Giver. And it'd be my pleasure to journey with you. Won't you come and journey with me as well?
Awesome. Thanks so much for being with us, RJ. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Next week, I'll be moving to Florida, so I won't be here live, but I will see you in 2 weeks. We have a beautiful list of guests lined up to share H3 TV with you, to remind people to remain hopeful, get healthy, and live the happy life you were created to live. Thanks so much for tuning in.